my good friend, Sandra Betzina. Sandra,
Hi
hello
there.
and welcome. Everyone, welcome Sandra to the show.
Let's get in the middle here. Okay. Well,
Oh, all
wish
those
I could see
adjustments we have
everybody
to
here.
make.
Well, it's funny. I am still sewing. I still love it. I started sewing in the 8th grade in Baltimore. You had to either take sewing or cooking if you were a girl an hour every day, and a boy
Okay.
took wood shop and car repair. And so I sewed that whole time, 5 years. And I went every day, and my teacher knew I didn't have a sewing machine at home. And so she said, if I could get all the machines unjammed and working for the next day, I could sew till she left at 4:30. So I sewed
My.
every day. And when I graduated, I was going to college, and she said, I have never had a student that loved this much. I think the thing with sewing is we are always losing stuff. It drives me crazy. Still, after all this time, just don't empty the trash can, because you're gonna be in that trash can sometime during this project. One of the things that I would advise people to do, because when you get older, your waist gets bigger. You may weigh the same, but trust me, you don't look the same. And so you're gonna have to let out your pants. And I've got some beautiful things that I've made over the years, but the waist gets too tight. But what I've been doing I always tell people to have fat seam allowances. I call it fit insurance on the side seam.
You taught me that.
You've got these great big fat seams, then when you get this bigger waist, when you get older, you can just let it out, you see. Whereas if you have 5/8, you're not going to be able to get too much.
When I learned that from you, I add so that I have a full 1-inch seam allowance for everything I make, so that even if I'm making those fitting adjustments. Yeah.
Because there's some things that are not quite right, the sizing, if you haven't noticed.
And if you hunt for something, I think with fabric, you as long as you pay attention to the back of the pattern envelope, which you always very careful.
The first one they list is the one that is the sample's made of, the picture. Because sometimes they list 3 or 4 to try to make it palatable to the chains. It for sure works, the first one. When I do patterns, I usually make it up in 5 different fabrics.
Okay.
And then in the beginning of the pattern, it has in the instructions says, before you start, and I've usually said in there, I made it this, I made it this, it did not work. Make sure you mark the dots or you're going to be in trouble in this. But that little paragraph is the most important thing in there, because I'll guide you away, because I've probably goofed it up a couple times with some fabrics as well. A lot of people, it's still too broad in the front. As we get older, and as women, we've worked so hard that our back gets broader and the front gets smaller. So what I do is keep the back the same, but cut off maybe 3/4 of an inch from the front, going down to 0 by the notch. Now your back is now 3/4 of an inch bigger. So all you do is put in the middle of the shoulder a little dart that's 3/4 inches wide, 3 1/4 inches long. Now they fit together at the shoulder, but it doesn't tear out under the arm.
So I have some notes here. What would you say are some of your favorite must-have sewing tools in your sewing space?
Oh, a good pair of scissors. I love Kai scissors. I like their cutting shears, but I also like the little 5 inches. Those are little small ones. They're wonderful. So those are a must for me. Steam-a-seam. I couldn't do without steam-a-seam and fusible stay tape. And then the other thing is a good seam ripper, not just one. I have 4 floating around here. And that magnetic bowl for pins, and good pins. I like those silk pins that go in with colored heads.